all that hard work put in when you go to their graduation.
Mm-hmm.
We have a special thing that we do at our graduation is that each student gets to pick a staff member to say something on their behalf at graduation. So we only have 25 kids at each of our schools that graduate, so that's why we can do it. But they come up, they give a 90-second speech about that, and the fact that here's a kid who built a relationship with an adult who is just pumped to be there to brag about this kid. And some of these kids were our toughest kids we've had that we're in trouble all the time, but like we were talking about before, you find the good, you find that good, and that's what they do, and it's a magical time. I mean, there's not a dry eye in the place.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Brighter Together podcast. My name is Janet Courtney, and my special guest today is Ryan Rehnstrand. Ryan is the Director of Student Services, and he's also the interim Executive Director of Lionsgate Academy. And hopefully very soon he will be the Executive Director of Lionsgate Academy. And that's in Minneapolis, Minnesota. So Ryan, congratulations and welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just crossing my fingers, going through the interview process, and I want the job. I love Lionsgate Academy. We're a public charter school, and like you said, in Minneapolis, the Twin Cities of Minnesota. And our niche is we work with kids on the spectrum, and that's nice. I'm starting my 10th year there. Thought I was only going to be there for a couple years. Getting my foot in the ground as a director of student services. Why would I work in a charter school? Why would I do that? Because I've never been in one. Fell in love. The greatest compliment I can give about Lionsgate is that I sent two of my kids there who are not on the spectrum, but needed, special services that would help them be successful, and they're very successful. So it's a great school district.
So how many students do you told me before we started that you have 4 campuses, is that correct?
Yep, 4 campuses, 2 7-12 programs. We have a 18 to 22 program. And then I'm proud to say, I think we have the only setting for behavioral program in the country for a charter school. And that's one of our other programs. So yeah.
Wow. Very cool.
And we have about 400 kids.
I was going to say, so how many kids do you have? You answered me before I got there. 400 kids. That's amazing. So is the excuse the pun, but is the lion's share of them students that are autistic, or do you have gen ed kids as well? What's your kind of like your division or your makeup of students?
Yeah, so of the 400 kids, we would say about 96% are kids that have IEPs or special educations.
Oh, wow.
Most of the ones that do not have IEPs are then either they're on 504s or something.
Okay. Yeah.
But and then of the population, we probably have 90% of those students that are on the spectrum one way or another. We have other kids that maybe emotional behavior or some other type of disability that they come there and they hear about us. A lot of parents don't come to a charter school because they're happy with their home district. So
right.
They want a school of choice. They research. They realize that we have smaller class sizes. We Our gen ed teachers and our special ed teachers all work so closely together. There is no different silos between the two.
Right.
And I like to say we're like a school of accommodations. It may not be in the IEP, but we are doing other accommodations all throughout the day to help these kids be as successful as they can.
Very cool. I did not know. I'm so glad you shared that. And we didn't even talk about that before we got started. We were talking about other stuff, but that is so neat.
All day.
Yeah. And Ryan's wife is an SLP, by the way, people, and that's so cool because I'm an SLP. It's 31 years, and so she's. I just love it. Ryan and I met at the Mace conference this last May, and I begged him. I was like, Ryan, come be on my podcast. I want to hear from you. This is a man who loves what he's doing, and every time I see him, his passion just pours out of him. So I am so grateful, Ryan, that you are here. So tell me what's going on in Lionsgate, and tell me what's going on in your world.
Well, right now, we're in transition with leadership. As the interim, I'm for the last 4 months kind of trying to upright the ship a little bit. And even though I don't have the permanent gig, hopefully I will get it. But I have to act like I do have the job. So it's a lot of just kind of planning, getting ready. What can we, how can we be on the cutting edge? that is really the big thing, is we don't want to be stagnant. We want to, my job as the director of student services and hopefully the executive director, I go out there and I try to find what's out there that's best for our kids. Trial and error. We want to spend money on these kids because they deserve it.
Right.
They need the support, because and our it's in our mission for Lionsgate is we're trying to transition them to adulthood. That's and how do we do that? The most successful way, and support these parents who have gone through, if from the very beginning, when you find out that your child has a disability, and go through that mourning process, and then you go through the schools, and not all schools, we have lots of great schools in Minnesota, but it doesn't always work out. It's not a good fit. And our, the idea behind in Lionsgate is, they come to our building, we build trust. We start from basically the minute they come there, we really talk about trust, believe in us. We will make mistakes. I mean, that's just life, but
That's human nature.
but let us know when we make these mistakes, and we'll work together to try to fix it and do what's best. And we're very honest. That is, I don't hide things from parents, and I'm very honest, and I walk through the law with them when we do IEP meetings, because, we're not, they've, in certain situations, these parents feel like they had no say with their students and stuff, and we try to give them that voice back.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Yeah. It's overwhelming. I mean, you can have a lot of people in that room, and when you are, and you're still grieving, right? Especially that initial IEP, sometimes that, and I've heard so many times, teachers talk about, and leaders talk about, let's talk about the amazing things about your child. Let's talk about the amazing things that your child can do. And then we can talk about the things that he needs help with, because every single child has things that they can do. And you and I have such great passion, the same kind of passion for human beings, for people. Let's focus on the people and how we can help them. And I'll put a plug in for you. Whoever's in the decision maker of Lionsgate Academy, you need to hire this guy permanently, because he will do an amazing job. And I know that. I mean, it just comes through. So, yeah. So
I try to lead, when you look at, like, I've been out of the classroom for, almost 16 years now, but I've been, because I wanted to, how do I say this? I wanted to be able to reach more kids. I do in that, if I can be a leader and lead how I want them to work with kids, I hope I can, I can
lead by example.
It's just my classroom and stuff. But when I work with staff, I try to focus on what they do best. If you sit there and you build on what they do good and do well, you're going to get a lot better teacher, instead of just focusing on the things that they don't do as well. Yes, you need to touch on it, but really you find the good. And this is how I taught too, is you find the good, you find what they're great at, and you just feed it and feed it. And feed it. You'll get a better person out of it. I really believe so.
Yeah. I do the same thing in therapy. When I was doing therapy, I don't get to do therapy anymore, but when I was seeing kids, it's like, I always tell, when I would mentor people, I was like, you got to find the hook. You got to find that thing that child loves. You really have to. And then you as a speech pathologist, you can make a language objective, or, give me a pen. I can tell you, we can talk all about the language of a pen and spend lots of time talking about, the stylus and the point, and what is this thing for, and the function, and boy, I wonder how long it took them to manufacture this pen, and where would it be manufactured. There's just so many things, and that's just a pen. It's just a pen, so you can find if you can find, I remember I had one child, he loved wrestling, WWE. I learned more about WWE that semester than I ever cared to know about WWE. No offense to WWE people, but I learned, and my husband loves NASCAR, so I know a lot about NASCAR. I mean, you really just have to find what people love and then build from that, right? And especially if they're day in and day out trying to do that job, boy, let's lift them up. Let's lift them up for sure.
I'm putting together for we always called it the kickoff, the whole district gets together, and I'm changing this here. It's a rally. We're going to rally together. We're really going to identify what each of us do that makes Lionsgate so special. What do you do? How do you contribute? And then from there, each building is going to basically express how they contribute to what makes Lionsgate. And then we're all going to come together as one big, as a district, and say, this is who we are. We are Lionsgate. And I'm just so excited for that day, because I want to celebrate our staff. They
Yeah.
do such amazing things. They're the uh, I mean, we have people that have doctorates who have retired but come back to be a paraprofessional at Lionsgate because they want purpose and to finish their career off with something. It's like
Mm-hmm.
we get such amazing people. I almost tear up because it's like you just walk the halls and you see these staff that have so just patience and just love what they do. And
Mm-hmm.
how do you not get up every day and go, I love going to work.
Yeah.
I do.
Right.
I do. Because
Yeah.
life's too short to sit there and not enjoy what you do. So
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Find what you love and do that, because then you're never going to work another day in your life, because it's just amazing to be able to do what you do and know that you're making a difference and impact in the world. And I think that, nothing against corporate America, but I love the fact that we get to serve. We get to serve
yeah.
human beings and lead in a way that lifts people up,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well,
For
one of
sure.
one of my jobs, and I really think I do great at this, is networking. I go out and network, and mostly what I start doing is I brag about Lionsgate. This is what we do well. I invite people to come and visit, take a tour. Tell me what you do. This is what we do. Show our sensory rooms and how we set up classrooms and have little breakout rooms within the classroom, just so that these students who are getting over sensitized can find a place and stuff. So I'm out there bragging. I'm networking. I'm working with the legislature, but I'm really working hard with the home districts that these kids come from. I don't want to compete against the other districts. I want us to work together, because in today's society where finance when money is not a lot out there for schools, we're being targeted all over the place. School,
Right.
and my job is like we need to work together. If you're overstaffed in an area, let me buy some of that time so we don't have to overstaff, or we may not be able to find somebody. And
Right.
a lot of that connecting. I have some great directors. I know I mean, there's not a bad director in the state of Minnesota right now. They're phenomenal to work with. We work hard together, and I'm so proud to be part of that organization, which you mentioned before, the MACE organization.
Yeah. One thing I often hear from school leaders is, I just want a partner who puts students first. At Lighthouse Therapy, that's exactly what we do. We don't have outside investors, and we don't answer to shareholders. Instead, we answer to school leaders like you, those listening to this podcast. Whether you're wanting virtual, hybrid, or in-person therapy, our systems are designed to make your life easier and your team stronger. We are a therapy company run by therapists for the betterment of students. Visit lighthouse-therapy.com/brighter together to learn how we can help you support your students this year. Yeah, we were at the conference in May, and what a fun group of people they are. It was a ball. It was a ball. And watching them play bingo, we played bingo that last time. It was just, these people, these women and men really care about your students in Minnesota, and it is so evident there. And it was so much fun just to be able to be a part of it and get a sneak peek of the amazing things and the amazing people that are just working so hard to make sure that the special needs kids get the services that they need. And I'm proud as Lighthouse Therapy to be one of the companies that is serving some of the districts in Minnesota, because we get to walk alongside some of you guys as well. And it's a good thing. It's such a rewarding thing to do. So
Agree.
yeah. All right. Well, what would you say, Ryan, is your biggest challenge that you're facing at Lionsgate right now?
It goes as far as Lionsgate, as because we're a charter school. Our biggest challenge right now is it's funding. It really is, where we can't, like regular districts can levy and bring in money if the taxpayers agree.
Right.
We can't do that, and that is where, so whatever we budget for is what we have to spend. And with cost of transportation going up, food costs, all of that, just does not allow us to pay our staff as well as we want to. We're in certain areas we're competitive with regular districts.
You guys, I'm curious. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I'm curious. I know some districts, public school districts, they run in a deficit. I've heard that term quite a bit. Like we're running in a deficit right now. Can you even do that as a charter?
No, no, we can't at all, and that's why you see some of these. If they don't get enough students, they close. We
Right.
have one in north of here that closed just a week ago and stuff. And it's yeah, you hear that. The good thing is we are we have a huge waiting list. We have about 300 every year on our
Oh,
wait
wow.
stuff. So it's so we're not worried about the students. It's just that the state really they're really looking at charter schools because there are some ones that have that have struggled. And again, we're public charter schools. Minnesota
Right.
was different. Than some other like states where their charter schools are more like private. We have to follow all the state compliance rules for special ed and general ed, and so we have MDE, which is our Department of Education. Really looks and making sure that we're audited twice a year.
Yeah. I mean, you're a public school, you're getting public funds. I get that.
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know which schools charters aren't public. I know there are private parochial schools out there, but that's an interesting, I don't know the answer. Interesting.
I don't know. I can't but I've heard
Yeah.
that. So it's
Yeah. Who knows?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the biggest thing, and then mental health is a huge crisis across the country.
Hmm.
If you, I don't know if you thought about this, but starting kindergarten this year are the COVID babies,
Yes.
that were all so if so in the last how many years now, 5 years since COVID is like we've seen a huge increase in mental health
Yep.
concerns. We've kids that can't come to school. They're just they came to school prior to COVID, but after they something happened and stuff. And
Yeah.
when that is a huge, and I feel so bad for those parents. And there's not enough therapeutic programs out there for those kids to get, they're on waiting list. And if your kid has a behavior, then they don't allow, they don't allow those kids into those programs and stuff. So it's like, that's a
Yeah.
huge battle. And that's not a public school battle, but it is. I mean, we're
Well, and it is, it's it's a result of of COVID that really is anybody, I mean, I know the schools are addressing it, but is anybody in the government addressing it? Has it gotten to that point where it's like, I mean, you're not the first person to bring this K3 kids are not ready for school and they're struggling with being in school, and because they lived in a COVID world where everything was in lockdown, and now they've got to go and they've got to be ready for school, and preschool wasn't an option, and so it is definitely an issue.
Yeah, and who do they talk to? Being a speech therapist, my wife says these kids are coming in, with more speech issues because they didn't talk to anybody for those years,
Hmm.
just their parents, or they were in front of a screen because their each
Right.
had to be in front of a screen to do work. So, yeah, it's, we're really seeing that we're trying to, one thing we do at Lionsgate is we co-locate with a therapy Washburn Services in Minneapolis, and they come into our building. And they provide the therapy part, kind of a nice firewall. They do their thing, we do our thing, but
Hmm.
we get
Hmm.
them the space to do it, and that's been beneficial. But there's still, there's not enough. They only have a certain size caseload, and we have a
Yeah.
lot of kids that are coming in with those concerns. So
Yeah.
yeah, mental health is such a crisis that
And yet, every day we get up, we put our clothes on, and we go and we do that work every
yep,
day.
yep,
And that's the thing. It's like you really have to have a special, I mean, it's just a gift. It's a gift to be able to be a person that understands and has that servant heart to work with those kids, because we win. The kids, when we go and we do the hard work, we win because the kids win, right?
yep.
And that there's nothing better than seeing that light bulb moment with a child when you've been working on a concept or you've been working on something and they get it. And it is just one of those moments in life that you just store it away in your heart and in your memory, because it's like, I just changed that child's life for the better for the rest of their life.
Yes.
And and those moments are not every single day. We don't get them every single day, do we?
No, no. You see, at least at Lionsgate, you see all that hard work put in when you go to their graduation.
Hmm.
We have a special thing that we do at our graduation is that each student gets to pick a staff member to say something on their behalf at graduation. So we only have 25 kids at each of our schools that graduate, so that's why we can do it. But they come up, they give a 90-second speech about that, and the fact that, here's a kid who built a relationship with an adult who is just pumped to be there to brag about this kid. And some of these kids were, our toughest kids we've had that were in trouble all the time. But like we were talking about before, you find the good, you find that good, and that's what they do. And it's a magical time. I mean, there's not a dry eye in the place. So I encourage you, if you ever in Minnesota, come to our graduation.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. It really does. Yeah. All right. Well, Ryan, gosh, great conversation. I think we could probably talk about our kids and what we do for another hour and not run out of things to talk about, but our time is running out. Um, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to be here. I know we kind of bugged you to get you here, but and I knew you said you'd do it. It was just a matter of finding that right moment to get it done, and I'm so grateful that you did. Where should people go to learn more about you and Lionsgate and find out that you got that executive director position?
Go to our, Google Lionsgate Academy. I don't want to mess up the thing, but yeah, Lionsgate Academy, and there's our website, and hopefully, in a month from now, I'll know if I have the job or not. But it doesn't matter. Even if I don't have the job, I'm still going to be the director of Bond Services, and because I can't leave the place. I'm here till I retire. So
That's very good. Very, very good. Well, again, thanks for being on the Brighter Together podcast because we are brighter together.
yeah.